The savanna was quiet that evening, so quiet that even the wind felt like it was holding its breath. The tall golden grass shifted only a little, whispering softly as if afraid to disturb the moment. At the heart of this vast land, under an orange sky sinking gently toward dusk, lay a lion who had once ruled this world with unmatched pride and power. His name was Kivuli, a name spoken with respect by every creature who understood strength, wisdom, and the inevitable passing of time. Kivuli's mane had once been the darkest gold, thick and flowing like the rays of the first sunrise. Now it was silvered, strands glimmering faintly under the fading sunlight, his once powerful muscles slower, his breath deeper, heavier, each inhale carrying the weight of years. But even in this weakened state, his eyes held the fire of the lion he had always been. In them burned the stories of battles won, cubs raised, enemies defeated, and a kingdom built through blood, patience, and endless courage. The pride gathered around him, forming a quiet circle, each lion filled with emotions they could not understand fully but felt deeply. Fear, confusion, sorrow, love. The young cubs did not know why their mothers kept them still, why they were not allowed to paw at Kivuli or climb on his back like they used to. The lionesses watched with lowered heads, some with soft purrs rumbling in their chests, a sound not of happiness but of comfort, a final offering to their aging king. A cool breeze brushed across Kivuli's face, carrying the scent of faraway rains. It was a scent he had followed many times in his youth, racing across open plains, guiding his pride toward new lands rich with life. But now he knew he would not follow that scent again. The land around him remained familiar but distant, as though the world itself was slowly stepping away, preparing for him to join the legends that came before. His son, a large young male named Seifu, sat closest to him. Seifu had inherited Kivuli's strength, but carried a gentler temperament, a heart that fought between the desire to be brave and the fear of losing the one lion who had taught him everything. Seifu lowered his head, touching his forehead gently to his father's, a gesture that made Kivuli's eyes soften. In that moment, memories flooded him like the warm rush of a hunting run. He remembered Seifu as a small cub, squeaking as he tried to roar for the first time. He remembered carrying him gently by the scruff, watching proudly as he took his first steps onto the open plains. He remembered teaching him to stalk silently, to respect the land, to protect the pride. And now, as the sky darkened, he was teaching him the final lesson, that even kings must one day fall, and the crown must pass to another. The first stars appeared overhead, shimmering faintly like the glowing eyes of ancestors watching from the heavens. Kivuli felt a strange calmness overtaking him, as though the stars themselves were calling for him. His breath was slow but steady, each exhale softer than the last. Around him, the lionesses shifted uneasily, unsure whether to move closer or remain still. One lioness, Amara, who had been his closest companion through countless seasons, finally stepped forward. She pressed her body gently against his, her warmth wrapping around him like the comforting memories of youth. She remembered the first day she had seen him, young, fierce, full of fire. She remembered the victories he had given the pride, the cubs he had fathered, the nights they rested side by side under the safety of his dominance. Now she saw the tiredness in his eyes, the peace forming quietly behind them, and she knew the moment they had all avoided was arriving. Kivuli closed his eyes for a moment, picturing his younger self running across the plains with unmatched energy. He saw himself battling rival lions under the blazing sun, roaring so loudly that the earth felt like it trembled. He saw the first cub he ever raised, the first hunt he ever led, the first night he ever felt truly like a king. Those memories were bright and alive, swirling through him like a storm of light. But then another memory emerged, one quieter, softer. The day he first became a father. The moment he looked down at a tiny cub barely larger than his paw and felt a love so fierce it frightened him. He realized then that being king was not about fighting or roaring. It was about protecting. It was about giving everything he had so that his pride could live another day, another season, another generation. And now he watched that generation surrounding him, strong, healthy, ready to continue the legacy he had built. A distant rumble of thunder echoed across the plains. The scent of rain grew stronger. Kivuli opened his eyes once more, focusing them on the horizon. The The sky was painted in deep reds and purples, the sun only a thin sliver remaining. It felt symbolic, as though the world itself was bowing in respect, lowering its light for him. Suddenly there was a rustle in the grass. A small creature approached, a young meerkat, trembling as it peered up at the massive lion. Kivuli recognized the scent. This meerkat was from a family he had once spared during a hunt, choosing instead to walk away when he could have easily ended them. The meerkat stood silently for a moment before lowering its head, as if paying respect. Even the smallest creatures of the savanna could feel the gravity of this moment. Kivuli felt the corners of his mouth lift in the faintest smile. He took a slow, deep breath, letting the warm evening air fill his lungs. He listened to the sounds of his pride, the soft purrs, the gentle huffs, the trembling breaths. He listened to the gathering winds, the distant thunder, the whisper of the grass. Everything felt connected. Everything felt right. His heart, once strong enough to intimidate every rival on the plains, now beat softly, calmly. Sefu stepped even closer, his eyes shining with a mixture of fear and determination. He lowered his head and whispered a low rumble, a sound that said everything he could not express. "I'm here. You can rest now." Kivuli's eyes met his son's, and in that gaze, a lifetime of wisdom was passed on. He felt no fear, only acceptance. His breaths came slower, each one softer than the last. The world around him dimmed, not with darkness, but with peace. He could feel Amara pressed against him, Sefu touching his forehead to his, the pride gathering tighter around him. They were his family, his world, his legacy. As his chest rose one final time, he felt something warm and familiar, almost like a memory made real. The feeling of running across open plains, young and strong, wind rushing past him. He felt the presence of lions who had come before him, a golden path stretching into the horizon, calling him forward. With a final, gentle exhale, Kivuli released his last breath into the open savanna, and the wind carried it away with a soft whisper. The pride remained silent. The world seemed to pause. Even the thunder held itself still, as if waiting respectfully. Sefu did not move. He kept his head pressed against his father, feeling the absence, the stillness. A part of him wanted to roar, to scream his grief into the sky. But another part of him understood that this was not a moment for rage. It was a moment for honor. Slowly, he rose to his feet. He stood over Kivuli's still form, his chest rising and falling with heavy breaths. The lionesses watched him, their eyes reflecting the faint moonlight now spreading across the sky. The cubs stared in confusion, sensing something had changed forever. Sefu lifted his head. For a moment, he remained silent. Then, with a deep inhale, he released a long, powerful roar. It echoed across the plains, carrying strength, sorrow, respect, and promise all at once. It was not the roar of a broken lion. It was the roar of a new king. The lionesses joined him, their voices rising into the night, creating a chorus that rolled across the land like a wave of emotion. Even the cubs, not fully understanding, added their small squeaks to the sound. The savanna listened. The stars shimmered brighter. And though Kivuli's body lay still, his presence felt larger than ever, woven forever into the heartbeat of the land he once ruled. As the night deepened, the pride lay close together, surrounding their fallen king. Amara rested beside him, her eyes closed, her breath steady. Sefu stood watch, as Kivuli had once done for him. The moon rose high, casting a silver glow over the savanna. The grass swayed gently, carrying with it the memory of the lion who had given everything to protect his family. And somewhere beyond the world of the living, Kivuli ran freely across endless plains, young again, strong again, his spirit roaring victoriously among the stars.